We have now done videos looking at fantasy all-star 11s for Africa and Asia, and today we move on to Europe. For those of you who haven't watched either of the previous videos, the concept is pretty simple. We take the best players from every country affiliated with each continent's governing body and put together the strongest starting 11 and substitutes bench that we possibly can. Today is the turn of Europe, the strongest continent in world football right now, given that the last 4 World Cup winning nations have all been European countries and all 4 semi-finalists at the most recent World Cup were European. So here is our all-star European starting 11. Goalkeeper, David de Gea. The 3 or 4 best goalkeepers in the world right now are all Europeans, meaning we had the choice of the likes of Manuel Neuer, Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Jan Oblak. I've said it before and I'll say it again, good cases can be made for all 3, but our preference still lies with De Gea. The Spaniard is yet to show his best form in a Spanish shirt, having had a pretty forgettable 2018 World Cup, but his form at Manchester United for the last 5+ years has been almost faultless. De Gea isn't as good on the ball as some of his opposite numbers, nor is he the most dominant in terms of his 6-yard box, but his reflexes and shot-stopping abilities are second to none. De Gea regularly defies the odds to stop the ball finding the back of the net, often using his feet to do so, and he's our number 1. Right back, Joshua Kimmich. There are lots of very capable European right backs. England in particular have 3 or 4 very good ones, but our 2 favourites are Dani Carvajal and Joshua Kimmich. Carvajal is an unpopular choice since he isn't the most exciting to watch and Real Madrid are coming towards the end of a miserable campaign, but he's been brilliant over an extended period of time at the highest level and he is a very well-rounded fullback. For the purposes of this 11 though, and because I think he's absolutely brilliant, our right back is Joshua Kimmich. Philipp Lahm's heir apparent at both Bayern Munich and in the German national team, Kimmich is a really naturally gifted footballer and a tremendous outlet on the right flank. One of the most creative players in the Bundesliga, only Jadon Sancho has more assists this season, and although Kimmich can still improve his positioning and defensive nous, he's a rare talent and our pick at right back. Centre back, Virgil van Dijk. The first man in our centre back partnership is Liverpool star Virgil van Dijk. A rock-solid centre-back who combines speed and aggression with the calmness and composure that make him the most complete centre-half in world football right now. It took a while for Van Dijk to reach the pinnacle of the European game. Aged 27, last season was the first time that he has played in the knockout stages of the Champions League, and he is still yet to represent his country at a major tournament. He has handled every step up in class with consummate ease though, and he now looks like Liverpool's, and some may even argue the Premier League's, best player. He's a nailed-on starter for us. Centre back, Sergio Ramos. Partnering Virgil van Dijk at the heart of our defence is a man the Dutchman hasn't always been overly complimentary of since they faced each other in the Champions League final last season. Hopefully they can resolve their differences and strike up a winning partnership for us though. Whilst it took Van Dijk a while to reach the highest level, Ramos has been at it for almost 14 years. Signed by Real Madrid for €27 million as a teenager, he's gone from being a long-haired right-back who got humiliated trying to stop Ronaldinho to a short-haired centre-back who gets humiliated trying to hack down Lionel Messi. Joking aside, Ramos is a quality footballer, regardless of what one makes of his approach to the game. His relentlessness and consistency at the highest level can be matched by few players in the history of the European game, and his experience and winning mentality will be a welcome addition to our starting 11. Left back, Jordi Alba. Before I start talking about our choice at left back, I wanted to ask whether people preferred it when our starting 11s read from left to right or right to left, and I'm well aware that the answer most likely is that you couldn't care less. To me, it always seems more natural to start on the right and go left, but that seems counterintuitive as an English speaker where everything else seems to be left to right. Anyhow, if you've any preference, let us know in the comments. Right. At left back, we had the choice of the likes of David Alaba, Lucas Hernandez, Andy Robertson and many more. Alaba comes close, but our choice is Jordi Alba. A key man at Barcelona, only Lionel Messi has more assists at the Camp Nou this season, and with Kimmich on one side and Alba on the other, we'd have 2 of the most creative fullbacks in world football. Defensive midfield, Sergio Busquets. One could make a case for N'Golo Kante at the base of our midfield, but personally I find it hard to overlook Sergio Busquets, and the fact that Kante is playing out of position right now made the decision that little bit easier. Subscribers to this channel will be sick to their back teeth of hearing me talk about Busquets by now, I've no doubt. But he is a master pivot whose technique and intelligence allows him to do in 1 or 2 touches what most players could only do in 3 or 4, and those couple of touches make a big difference in football at the highest level. Now in his 11th season at Barcelona, having been a Spanish international for more than 10 years and still only 30, Busquets has won everything there is to win at both club and international level. He is our holding midfielder. Central midfield, Kevin De Bruyne. There's heaps of competition for the 2 central midfield places in our starting 11, but we'll come to that when we look at our substitutes. Here we're just going to focus on the 2 we've gone with, starting with Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne is so tactically aware and complete as a footballer that you'd be apt to have him anywhere in your midfield, from a holding role to just off a centre forward or out wide on the flank. We've got him slap bang in the middle of the park to maximise his involvement. One of the finest passers and crossers of a ball in world football right now, De Bruyne was the best player in the Premier League last season, and he could be huge for Man City as they battle on 3 different fronts going into the latter stages of the season. Central midfield, LUKA MODRIC. Last season, there were people on this channel saying Luka Modric was a better player than Lionel Messi. This season, there are people saying he's nowhere near as good as someone like Paul Pogba. Of course, both of those statements are incorrect. Football fans are notoriously fickle, and you can times that by about 10 when it comes to the YouTube comment section. Luka Modric is a world-class footballer who is perhaps the finest attacking midfielder in the Premier League at Tottenham and reached yet new heights in a deeper central midfield role at Real Madrid. Having had a tough start to life at the Bernabeu, Modric's work rate and intelligence quickly helped him turn things around. Modric has won 4 Champions League titles during his time in Madrid, and I'd argue that Cristiano Ronaldo is the only player who is more integral to those successes than him. Tactically and technically, there may be no 2 finer midfield players than Kevin De Bruyne and Luka Modric, so we're pretty happy with our midfield partnership. Right wing, Kylian Mbappe. There's no shortage of fine candidates from Europe on either of the flanks, but on the right wing, it would be madness to overlook Kylian Mbappe. He became Monaco's youngest ever player, breaking a 21-year record set by Thierry Henry in December 2015. In the 3 years and 4 months since then, Mbappe has won league titles with 2 different clubs, a World Cup, made the FIFA Pro World 11, the top 10 of Ballon d'Or voting twice, and will soon be named as Ligue 1's top scorer for the first time. Mbappe is 20 now, and he has scored a remarkable 26 goals in 23 league games this season, and 31 in 35 in all competitions, playing both as a centre forward and on the right flank. Mbappe is one of the fastest things I've ever seen on a football pitch. He's got fantastic skill and technique, he has a directness that frightens the life out of defenders, and he's already scoring goals for fun. We didn't deliberate for too long about his inclusion. Left wing, Eden Hazard. A much trickier call is to be made on the left flank, where Gareth Bale, who can play on either wing, was an option, as was Dortmund star Marco Reus, who is having an excellent season, and our eventual choice Eden Hazard. Cases can be made for all 3, but I went with my gut, and my gut said Eden Hazard. Probably the most gifted of the 3 in terms of sheer ability with the ball at their feet, Hazard is a magnificent dribbler of the ball. He just doesn't quite seem capable, mentally perhaps, of having an extraordinary goal scoring season. He's yet to hit 20 plus goals in a campaign outside of France, but his goal and assist stats in a less than brilliant Chelsea side this season show that whilst a long way off Messi Ronaldo standards, Hazard certainly has no lack of end product. We think he'd flourish in a side with this much talent and creativity, so the Belgian star is our choice on the left wing. Centre forward, Cristiano Ronaldo. We are ridiculously spoiled for choice when it comes to our centre forward, but ultimately, there's no way we can overlook Europe's finest footballer in Cristiano Ronaldo. At least the 3rd, arguably the 1st, and for my money the 2nd greatest European footballer of all time, Ronaldo's longevity and relentlessness, particularly in terms of goal scoring at the highest level, is absurd. From a slim box of tricks on the left flank, to an all-encompassing force of nature out wide, and now predominantly a dead-eyed centre-forward through the middle, Ronaldo's transformation has been fascinating to watch. He may no longer impact the totality of a game, but his goals so often still decide them. Precise in his finishing, lethal in the air, and possessing the finest striking instincts in the world game, Ronaldo is our centre-forward. Substitutes. As always with our continents videos at least, we do have a substitutes bench to turn to, both to give us some options off the bench in this fantasy world and to acknowledge some top class players who missed out in the real one. If anything, picking 7 subs was even trickier than picking a starting 11, simply due to the wealth of competition in Europe. We start in goal, where our backup to David de Gea was a choice between Manuel Neuer, Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Jan Oblak. Ter Stegen would probably be the most popular choice and Neuer the least popular, but I'm going with the least popular. For a long time I thought Neuer was a tad overrated, but now the pendulum seems to have gone full swing in the other direction. Particularly those outside of Germany and those who don't watch much of the Bundesliga have perpetuated the myth that Neuer has been rubbish since about 2015, which just isn't the case. He's been excellent recently, so he's our deputy between the sticks. At centre-back, Gerard Piqué beats the likes of Mats Hummels and Giorgio Chiellini to a spot on the bench, the Spaniard having had a superb season at Barcelona. Our backup fullback was a choice between David Alba and Dani Carvajal, but on the grounds that we have Ramos full cover at right back and Alba is incredibly versatile, it's the Bayern man who nicks it. As our most defence-minded backup midfield player, the obvious candidate is N'Golo Kante. Played out of position this season perhaps, but there can be no doubting his talents in his preferred role and accomplishments there over the last 3 or 4 years. Central midfield and centre forward were undoubtedly the 2 hardest decisions, and in central midfield we had the choice of everyone from Toni Kroos, Marco Verratti, Ivan Rakitic and Thiago to David Silva, Bernardo Silva and Miralem Pjanic. I was really tempted to go with Bernardo Silva, who is brilliant and can play in a whole host of different positions, but for his sheer match-winning and game-changing capabilities, we've gone with Paul Pogba. Our benched winger was a choice of 3 between Gareth Bale, Marco Reus and Raheem Sterling, and I've gone for Bale because I think he's the pick of the bunch when he's at his best. And finally, our backup to Cristiano Ronaldo. Bayern Munich star Robert Lewandowski, Atletico talisman Antoine Griezmann, and even Real Madrid stalwart Karim Benzema could all stake claims, and good ones too, but I'm going for Harry Kane. The Englishman is an absolute machine in front of goal, and his all-round centre-forward play is incredibly underrated. He's strong, he's got a good first touch, and he scores just about every different type of goal you can imagine, from tap-ins to 35-yard thunderbolts. So that's it for our European 11. Let us know what your European 11s would look like in the comments, call me an idiot for all the selections you disagree with, and make sure to subscribe to HITC Sevens.